Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, the newly released as of today strategy and war game that looks at the American Civil War and allows you to play as the Confederates or as the Union during this conflict, giving you strategic choices such as raising armies, assigning commanders, equipping units, and marching them around the United States, while also giving you the ability to fight tactical battles when the two armies meet. The game is developed by Oliver Keppelmuller and his team, and this is leaving early access today. It's been in early access for a while, but the game comes out sort of officially to the 1.0 version today. We are playing our Union Let's Play series where we have been stymied in Northern Virginia. We at one time had taken Richmond and a series of battles was fought there and the AI pushed us out, but we have been pushed back to Northern Virginia. I've been pretty passive the last couple of months, last few videos. The intent is to wait for the spring and launch an 1862 spring campaign. You can see these little winter houses here for the Army of the Potomac and the Department of Pennsylvania represent the fact that they are in winter quarters, but the AI has not completely halted. They've slowed down their activities a little bit, but it looks like now they are sending Hampton's division up the valley, attempting to dislodge the Department of Pennsylvania under General Robert Patterson. Patterson has 14,000 soldiers currently with him, 60 guns. We have a division of troops that are being raised to complement his forces, 3 brigades, but they are currently between 1 to 3 weeks away from being complete. So it looks like we're going to fight this battle with our 2 divisions, Kelm's division and Cadwallader's division of about, each one of these brigades looks like they have about just between 2,000 and 2,600 troops currently ready. They are all equipped with Springfield rifles, with one exception. Cooper's brigade has Sharps rifles, which are breech loading, rapid firing, highly accurate target shooting rifles. So these guys will burn through ammo fast, but they'll also be very good. We also have 4 batteries of artillery, 3-inch ordnance rifles, 12-pound howitzers, and 24-pound howitzers, to the total of 60 guns. And I think we're in a pretty good situation here. I think Hampton's division is going to struggle. They've got about 14,000 men and about a third as many guns as us. So if we're on the defensive, we're okay. We haven't advanced further south primarily because there's the Army of the Tennessee with 22,000 troops. There's the Army of the Potomac with about 9,000 troops. So that's about 31,000 troops to the west of Virginia. And then I think there is an army over here near Richmond that's a little bit stronger as well. So all told, I think we calculated that the Rebs have about 60 to 70,000 troops in the Virginia line here near Richmond. They also have moved the Army of the Shenandoah and its 3,700 troops west into West Virginia. We have taken West Virginia from the rebels, so it has joined the Union here. You can see the blue representing the fact that it has seceded from the Confederacy. And we will eject the Army of the Shenandoah from West Virginia. They have taken the city of Beverly, but all the other cities in West Virginia remain under Union control. Don Carlos Buell has a force of 36,000 men in western West Virginia that are just waiting for the weather to get a little bit better. I don't want to be marching through snow. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, we've got the Army of the Cumberland under Ulysses S. Grant with about 18,000 men who are in winter quarters as well. And then to his west, we have 27,000 men under Major General Edwin Sumner in the Army of the Kentucky. The plan is for the Army of the Cumberland to move down toward the Cumberland Gap, and then once there, move down toward Knoxville with General Grant at the head, and the Army of Kentucky will move south to retake Bowling Green, retake Hopkinsville, and threaten Nashville. That's the plan for the spring of 1862. Meanwhile, we did just recently have a battle at Cairo. The Confederates brought the blockade, or the entire naval force of New Orleans north, and they are blockading Cairo, as well as I think they might have been at least temporarily blockading a couple other cities in along the Ohio River. But they brought their naval force up from the city of New Orleans and overpowered our naval squadron under General Foote, or I guess Commodore Foote, sinking 4 ships. We are currently trying to rebuild this fleet. So we had lost, I think, 2 tin-clad ironclads and 2 timber-clads. And we are now building 3 ironclads, 3 big-ass, full-blown ironclads, 17 guns, iron, very large. And these are river ironclad gunboats, the USS Arizona, the USS Baratiria, and the Baron de Kalb. And then that will complement our force of, I think we have a couple of timber-clad gunboats. We have a tin-clad gunboat here, the Champion. We have a tin-clad gunboat, the Alfred Robb, which are basically lightly armored, very thinly armored gunboats. And then we have the timber-clad gunboat, the Lexington and Cairo. And then we also have a couple of steamers, the USS Michigan and the USS Water Witch. And so we have a total force of about 9 ships. Once all of these ships are constructed, we will have quite a few guns, but it's going to take about 3 months for the ironclads to get built. And then we will hopefully push the Confederate flotilla south of Cairo and really clean up the rivers in this area. I do like the way the rivers work in the game. They really do provide avenues of advance and threatening of the enemy positions. The only problem is naval combat feels a little borked. We also do have the Department of the West out here, about 8,000 men under William Harney in Missouri. The weather looks like it might be getting a little better there. I don't see a ton of white, so we might want to start moving them on the Missouri State Guard here in southern Missouri. We've got about 7,700 troops and 15 guns under 1 division actually, we don't even have a division here. How's Nathaniel Lyon doing? Does he deserve a division command? He's won a couple battles as a brigade commander. Let's do that. Let's add a new division. We'll replace Nathaniel Lyon as brigade commander with who? Could do Oliver Green. Could do Tinball. I don't recognize any of the commanders at this point who I can still throw into service. I feel like a lot of the historical, I guess we'll give it to John Pope. Pope, you can have a brigade. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take George Crook and replace him with Nathaniel Lyon, who will be our division commander. And then we'll put Pope and Casey under Lyon, as well as Abbott's battery. We'll leave Zook's cavalry out there kind of on their own. And I think 1 division with a cavalry unit sort of acting independently should be enough for Missouri at the moment. We do have a couple of brigades back at St. Louis also, just sort of keeping that city safe from any rebels who might want to try and sneak in. If I can actually find the Army of Missouri. Yeah, we've got about 5,000 troops down here under a volunteer Major General Baker, 2 brigades, Carlin and Russell, both using Enfield rifled muskets recently imported from Britain. Meanwhile, the policies that we're working on right now is we just completed Diplomacy 1, which allowed us to import a bunch of weapons from Europe. We are currently working on Military 2, which will be ready in 43 days, which I would like to get before my advance into the Confederacy in the spring. So 43 days will put us into, middle of February, which is good news for us, because what this military policy allows is it allows us to begin creating corps in our armies. So right now, the largest size unit that we can put in an army is a division. So we're still sort of operating the way that the Union operated at Bull Run, where you just had 3 divisions. But once we get Military 2, we will be able to use Army Corps, which will allow us to be much more efficient in the management of our forces. And it'll also allow us to issue trade warfare subsidies, I'm assuming for privateers and stuff, for up to $500,000. We've already got 2-year troops enabled. And so once we get Military 2, I think the next step will probably be legal blockade, which somehow we have still not implemented yet. And that'll be the next policy that we probably want to pursue. You can only have 8 policies in action at any one time, but I believe Military 1 gives way to Military 2, so it'll stay at 7. So we'll still be able to do 1 more policy. We don't have anything on this sort of regular legal blockade letter of marque tree here, so that would be the 8th then. And so then we could continue working down the industrialization or the breadbasket or the tariffs and government funded stuff, but we would be limited to expanding. We probably wouldn't be able to expand to northern routes for trade. We may not be able to go down the feed Europe route. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see, because I haven't actually played this far into the game before. By the way, apparently Europe's intervention policy is up to 40%. So we need to keep an eye on that, because the Confederates are passing policies that may lead Europe to join them eventually, although not quite yet. We are winning almost all of our battles, though. If we go back to the strategic map here, you can see national morale is at 95%, morale or support is 91, morale of the Army's 86. Confederates still have good morale of the Army's at 88 and national support 84, but their national morale is 62, probably because they've lost West Virginia and they've lost almost all the battles. They've won 7 battles, 3 key battles in front of Richmond, but they've lost 28 battles here. They've lost 65,000 casualties versus only 36,000 Union casualties. And the weapons industry is now massively switched to our advantage. with some of the recent policies that have come out. So we also just passed them. So for a while, they were leading us in terms of manpower equipped and things like that. But with some of the casualties in the recent battles, and once we unlocked that 2-year volunteer option, I really started cranking up the production of troops, and we're up to 161,000 men fielded versus less than 100,000 Confederates. They're probably going to have to start drafting soon. But let's go ahead and get started here, and you can see we're going to be fighting Hampton's division in the Valley with the Department of Pennsylvania's 14,000 boys and 60 guns versus 13,000 Confederates. The Battle of Front Royal Bridge, Virginia. By the way, apparently, I believe with the 1.0 release, they also released a new map, I think, for Williamsburg on the peninsula. So they've got a bunch of different like historical maps. They've got Fredericksburg, they've got Gettysburg, Antietam, Bull Run. And so like when you're in different parts of the strategic map, the map that you actually play on is influenced by sort of the geographic area that you're at. It would be nice if they build some random maps in there as well, just sort of to, because I think part of the problem is like everything in Northern Virginia turns into either Fredericksburg or Bull Run. And Fredericksburg is a very unique map, which I don't think is very fun to play on. But it would be nice if like not every battle in Northern Virginia was in Manassas. So if you had some sort of narrower cordon where like, yes, if you're at Manassas, you fight there. But if you're not, maybe you pull from like one of 10 or 20 different random maps. That might be more interesting to kind of keep some variation going. So I know they're intending to do more maps post-release, but that's just something to kind of keep in mind. All right, so you can see here our scouts report the enemy near Front Royal Bridge, Virginia, and our army prepare for battle. We face Hampton's division, 14,000 men, 20 guns. The enemy army is green, and morale is reported to be eager. They're still green. We just fought them a couple months ago. Our troops are much more experienced, I think. So you can see here the Confederacy, 88. I think their men are at 88%. Effectiveness, horse 88, guns 88, provisions 81, forage 81, small arms 88, guns 88, and total 88. Union forces are in much better shape. We've been in winter quarters, so we haven't been marching around and stuff. You can see we have 888 soldiers in our artillery, 13,885 in our infantry, 706 on the sick list versus 1,000 for the Confederates. Aggregate at last return, 14,773 versus 12,000 for the Confederates. And 59 guns versus 20. Commander report, Union Major General Robert Patterson has fought in 5 battles, and I don't know what the experience thing means. I'm guessing that just means he has the advantage in experience. He's less famous, though, because he did lose a couple battles, which has caused him to become infamous, so he's actually got a morale penalty to his troops. Cunning, 14 versus 44, 43 versus 44, 20 initiative versus 23, 36 leadership versus 34. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know that there's anything else I want to look at right now. I guess the main thing is where are the objectives. So we've got Milltown and we've got Winchester. So these are the same 2 objectives as we had last time. Our force is... All right, those are our 2 divisions. Where's our army commander? Okay, there we go. So the question is, where are the rebs going to come from? So if we take a look at the map, we can see the red icon for where the enemy will be coming on the map is down here in the lower right-hand corner. So presumably they're going to be marching up toward Milltown or Winchester, which are the 2 objectives on this map. Probably coming up the Millwood Pike. Well, yeah, so let's see here. They have this part of the map, so they're probably going to come this roadway. There's no real, I mean, they could cut south down the Buffalo Road. My assumption is they're going to come up this roadway here. And the nice thing is if we zoom in all the way here, we can see this is a lot of open terrain. It is wintry, by the way, so you can see it looks like the ground is frozen. So let's do this. We could set up on this fence line here, closer into the objectives. Got a pretty good amount of troops who could actually deploy further forward. So I think what we're going to do, they're going to come up this roadway. I mean, I don't know how far off the map they'll deploy. I think the most logical thing here, can we set these guys up in single line? We can. We could deploy these guys on this fence line down here to guard from this southern road. So we could put Cadwallader's division facing the south along this fence line. And then we could take Keem's division and deploy him here. I don't know. There's no real clear, like, defensive line from the direction they're coming. We could sit behind the creeks. Could also sit on these heights. Put Cadwallader's division over here. One of these guys will guard the bridge from Milltown south. We'll put, oh no, I don't want to put the Sharps Brigade there. We'll put one of the Springfield Brigades down here. Williams Brigade. Cooper's Brigade. You know what we should do? These guys have really long range. Is this terrain that can fire? Where's the elevation here? I think we fought on this battlefield before. So there's some nice elevation here. So we'll put our artillery over here. Put the 24-pound howitzers. And then I want to get the 3-inch ordnance rifles up here also. I'm assuming they can see from here, but let's actually just switch these just in case. So we'll put the 3-inch rifle there. We'll put the 24-pound howitzers here. And then we're going to put the 12-pound howitzers. Like, where are they going to come across? If they come up this road, they're going to cross down here. There's not even a crossing there, is there? Yeah, there kind of is. Set these guys out to long range. And then I want to dig these guys in. Also, we do have some engineering points. I don't know that built. Doesn't look like it built. All right, what if we do this? What if we build breastworks? Problem is this is like elevated, so they'd be at a lower point. So I guess we could build breastworks here. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. Parapet is what I want. All right, let's put these Sharps boys in these parapets opposite this river. I have a new strategy now. Come on. I want you in the center of the damn thing. There you go. Okay, so you're here. So these guns can cover you from this elevation here pretty effectively, I think. So they can fire into the flank of the Rebs as they come up. So to that extent, this terrain is, I mean, I guess you're down a little bit. I should have put you a little bit further up here. This would have put you on top of the hill, right? I mean, there's not really much of an elevation here. Let's just do that. We've got plenty of engineering points. Let's just go ahead and build parapets. So I have a 3-brigade front, which represents the division. Should they look like that? It's weird. All right, so we're going to put Springfield Rifle Brigades on either side. Actually, wrong troop. No, they're the right troops. Springfield Rifled troops on either side. In good defensive terrain. We'll put some artillery on their flank. We will put... I don't know if they can fire over their heads or not. So we'll do one more parapet here. one of these brigades. Why didn't that build? So this is a very bizarre defensive position. But basically, I'm refusing my line here to make sure the enemy doesn't go around me. And then I'll put one unit of troops here. But I think they're going to kind of be a reserve over on this flank here. So we'll guard this road coming up this way. These 3 brigades will guard the main road where I think the enemy's going to come. In theory, the 4th New York may pour flank fire in if the enemy tries to go around us. We'll put a battery of artillery here between the positions and a little bit to the rear. I'm assuming they'll be able to... Oh, shit. I need to look at topography a little bit better. Because this looks like there's a, like on the topographical map, it doesn't look like a dip, but there definitely seems to be a dip here. I guess we'll see. I can't really get low enough to the ground to see how much of an issue that might be. Meanwhile, these guys should be able to fire over the heads of the troops down here and into the flank of the enemy. And then we've got one more battery of artillery here, which we'll put on the other flank here to cover us here. So I'm putting the artillery on the flanks. The artillery reserve commander will go up on this hill. 2nd Division commander, well, your troops are all here, so you go here. These guys aren't detached, right? It directly connects those units. I don't see it connecting these guys. Oh, that's because Crittenden is the commander whose troops haven't been raised yet. Well, Crittenden, you have no role here. You're basically just an aide. Go guard this bridge. Keep an eye on over here. We'll put Patterson on this hill where I probably have the best. Oh no! God damn it! I thought I hit the Alt button. Ah! All right. I could have sworn I had the Alt button selected, which is the button that you need to make sure you don't select the whole army to move. Or the whole command to move. No, you're faced the wrong way, boys. All right, everybody's faced the right way. Go ahead and send everybody to long range fire. This is the right, like you can see, right? All right, so I made a minor adjustment in where I placed the artillery, but other than that, artillery reserve commander go there. Crittenden, you have no command, so go back over here. And Kilm, you can go here. And Patterson, go up on this hill. Okay, so we're good. Let's go ahead and get started. Everybody should have a full complement of ammo, by the way. So you can see all the overlapping fields of fire here across this roadway. Again, one thing it doesn't factor in is like these guys in theory are on lower ground, so they may not be able to see as far. So we'll have to see. I think I may have picked a poor position for some of our guns. These guys are on heights, so they should have good fields of fire, but the guns down here are in a bit of a or in a little bit of a gully. It makes it look like they're on an elevation though, based on this topographical map. So, Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and speed things up to times 10, and I'm going to shut up for a few moments until we spot the enemy. And our first shots are underway. I didn't even notice it, but our artillery, our 3-inch ordnance rifles have spotted Confederate troops under Hotchkiss's brigade moving up the road just where we expected them to be. And so we've got dug-in troops, maybe slightly on the reverse end of a slope, but still, I think, in generally good position to defend, especially in those trenches against the Rebs as they come up. I'm assuming they're going to wait for a little bit and sort of form up, but you can see we did fire off some of our artillery. It looks like these troops who I thought might be in like a little bit of a gully there are actually firing at the enemy as well. So presumably they have a good field of fire here. Our other battery here of 24-pound howitzers is also firing, and the battle is underway at 8:03 in the morning with a frost-covered ground on the day after Christmas. Another battle near Front Royal, Virginia. Sorry about that. I had to step away for a second. My dog needed to get let out here, but you can see I think all of our artillery is in action here. Our 12-pound howitzers. I don't know if our 3-inch ordnance guns are still firing away. And then our 24-pounders also. I guess the one unit that isn't firing is these 12-pound howitzers on the flank. We've got, the enemy did send out some detachments of troops. They immediately recalled them by the looks of it, and they've got 1,800 troops under Hotchkiss. Doesn't say they've lost any troops. Weird, there was some smoke. I don't know if there's enemy guns that are firing at us somewhere. I don't see any. Looked like there was some smoke over our Sharps boys. But you can see here our artillery's pounding Hotchkiss's troops. They're inflicting a few casualties here. And you can see it looks like they've got some orders coming up. I saw a horse riding up to Hotchkiss. So presumably there's more troops coming up that road here. But our 3-inch ords and our 24-pounders and one of our 12-pounder batteries all pounding away at the enemy. That's a total of 31... 45 guns firing away at this one brigade in the open. I see a lot of shot exploding in the air, but I'm wondering if there might also be some shell. There seems to be some dust kicked up around these troops. And not inflicting a ton of losses at this point. Still kind of long range, especially we only have one battery of rifles going here. But waiting to see where the rest of the enemy troops are and what happens here. We could do this. We could go ahead and have some skirmishers detach off these boys. And so we'll take some of Cooper's skirmishers here, and they can use 200 Sharps rifles. Gonna fire at Hotchkiss here at range. So these guys are in the open, but they have a much longer range, presumably, than the enemy in terms of anything they have to throw at us, because we are using Sharps rifles, which have a 9-round-a-minute rate of fire and a considerable amount of range. And actually, after coming under fire, the enemy is withdrawing a little bit. So I'm going to pursue them. I'm going to keep those skirmishers moving up. But this is actually, I got to say, this is improvement from the AI where they are outranged and so they withdraw. That is not something I've seen. In fact, that was something I had been complaining previously about, saying the enemy just didn't know how to respond to being outranged. It just sat there and died, and now they're intelligently withdrawing as my skirmishers pursue them to try and keep the pressure up here. Trying to inflict some losses on Hotchkiss boys, up to 60 casualties almost. This unit does, not the skirmishers, but the main unit has the trait of sharpshooter, so there's a company of highly trained marksmen. I also don't recognize that target icon. I don't know if that's new. You can see here we're pursuing them. We are burning a little bit of ammo, but I don't know exactly how, like, it only took one round out of the main unit's ammunition, so I don't know exactly how skirmishers work from an ammunition perspective. They don't get the full complement, like, they don't get all 60 rounds of a unit's ammo as if they were an individual soldier carrying 60 rounds in their pouch. They usually get a smaller amount, and then it reduces the main unit's ammo a little bit. But I don't really know how that works, because it doesn't seem to be somewhat very consistent. Anyway, you can see we're pursuing these guys here. We're continuing to pursue, And we're racking up the casualties a little bit. The artillery is saving its ammo. It's no longer, I don't think, in range or even necessarily a line of sight. And so we're doing a little bit of armed reconnaissance here as we push the enemy back down the road. No sign of other enemy troops at the moment, just Hotchkiss's brigade. But you know, we're gonna take a little bit of their punch out of their brigade's you know, strength. They've lost about 100 men out of about a total of 1,800, so those casualties are mounting, and we're just going to continue pursuing them as they retreat. Actually, our artillery is still firing at them as they withdraw. So I don't know that this is going to be enough to break the brigade. Almost certainly not. But yeah, unit is cut off. Well, keep pursuing, boys. You're in your green jackets for a reason. I gave the unit in green jackets the Sharps because that's kind of like, you know, Sharps rifles, right? Keep it up, boys. You still got a little bit of ammo left. You are running low. Only about 10 rounds left. About 120 casualties now. Probably not the most efficient use of ammunition, but I don't care. I'm a big fan of spending all the ammo you can. Especially when the enemy can't fire back. As they continue to retreat down the roadway. Where the hell are the rest of the enemy troops? Are they marching around our flank? Does make you wonder. Oh, we've spotted them. So there's Pike's battalion of artillery up here. We've got Ashby's brigade of infantry, 1,600 troops. And we've got Wade's brigade of infantry. So they are pulling back here. We'll keep pursuing for a little bit. I don't want to get my skirmishers too far afield. So there are two divisions, not just Hampton's here. It looks like it's Cutts division and Hampton's division. And I guess we'll keep an eye on these enemy troops and see what they do. At least until they start shooting artillery at me. So are they trying to form up on the defensive? Because this says they should be on the offensive. It looks like they may be cutting over to Bufflick Road, maybe? Hotchkiss is pulling back down this roadway. No, they're marching. They're going to come right back up the road, and we're going to engage them again. At least till we run low on ammo. Oh, we are low on ammo, till we run out of ammo. So the rest of the formation is moving forward now. Perhaps they're ready to advance on us. They're loading their weapons, but they certainly can't be hitting us at this range. Why don't you guys go up into this wooded terrain here? Might give you a little bit better range on the elevation. Certainly will give you a little bit better cover. Special forces on the move. All right. So you're definitely in range now of the enemy, and you're in wooded cover with your 9 rounds of ammo left. It's very, you know, revolutionary. I'll just let you guys burn through the rest of your ammo and inflict what you can on Hotchkiss and then withdraw. I do want them to rotate, though, to get all their guns in action. Not doing too much damage here on the enemy, though. Only a couple of casualties on that last volley. Not a single one on this volley. Yeah, I know. They're running out of ammo. Gotcha. Once they're down to no ammo, then I'll pull them back to the parapet. We'll see if the enemy pursues. Alright, it says they're low on ammo. So the enemy is sitting and taking fire here from these skirmishers. Alright, so the skirmishers are pulling back. So we'll go times 10 speed. The enemy is... Oh, shit. The enemy sent some skirmishers out also. Come on, guys. Get out of there. So we took a couple casualties, 3 men lost. The enemy did send some skirmishers out from Hodgkin's brigade. Looks like Lee's brigade also showed up, so that's another brigade of troops. And they're going to start moving toward us. So our boys are going to pull back. I'm sure they're coming back joking and laughing about how they had such, you know, such a great time out there. Very effective. Can I dispatch them and will they have more ammo again? Haha, they've replenished their ammunition stock. But again, if 200 men bring in 39 more rounds, not costing any ammo to the main unit? That seems silly. Alright, so we'll deploy these skirmishers out in advance again. We'll engage. It's going to be Lee's brigade in the lead this time. Hotchkiss went up on this hill. Meanwhile, our artillery's opening back up. We can hear the guns rumbling. These brigades deploying some skirmishers. Intelligent. So they actually closed the range with me. Huh. So they put their skirmishers out. So this is intelligent work by the AI. They put their skirmishers out ahead of their brigade, so I could not take pot shots at the core of the brigade, just at the skirmishers. And so now we're embattled in a skirmisher duel here where we're actually losing some casualties because they pushed forward to get into range for those skirmishers, and so my troops are in range and so are theirs. They're losing about 3 times the number of casualties as we are. Presumably a big part of that is the huge advantage in rate of fire, I'm assuming, that we have. But nonetheless, it is eating through my ammo, it is inflicting some losses on my troops, and it is preventing me from sort of working on the lead core infantry brigades. We did drive Lee's detachment back, so we are going to pursue a little bit. Maybe we can hit the lead brigade. Also, it looks like the enemy has gotten some artillery into action against my skirmishers. And so now we'll work on Lee's brigade here a little bit, core of the brigade. And we will outrange them now. Although we burned through almost half our ammo just pushing those skirmishers off. So we are burning through the morning here. I don't know why this is like, it's orange like my artillery's low on ammo. I don't know that they're in, it does say they're firing. Meanwhile, we're up to 13 casualties. Looks like an artillery shell must have struck someone. We are being bombarded by enemy artillery, so that does lower our morale. We're down to 12 rounds of ammo in this group. Meanwhile, some enemy cavalry is coming up. It looks like the Peninsula Cavalry and Hill's Brigade of Infantry here have shown up. So the enemy is bringing additional troops to bear. Cavalry makes me nervous. They could definitely ride our skirmishers down before we could pull back. But we'll burn through what's left of our ammo here, and then we'll pull back to our main line. So Lee's brigade's now lost over 100 men. Hotchkiss's brigade has already lost over 100 men. We've lost a total of 13 men. Keep firing, boys. The din of artillery was tremendous, the rumble of musketry consistent. Men were falling, ammunition was low, and James Cooper's skirmishers fought on. Five rounds left. Cooper's low on ammo. I think once you go below 5 rounds, it just switches to low ammo. Well, maybe not. It says 4. I don't use skirmishers a lot, but skirmishers with sharp rifles are damn effective. And man, is artillery ineffective. Alright. Go ahead and recall them. Sound the recall, boys. And we'll let the enemy come to us now, so we'll go ahead and Well, I guess the enemy's going to march, so rather than speed up, we'll let it go. So you can see the enemy formation here is moving forward. Question is, do we want to detach some skirmishers from our other units? Why the hell not? So we'll put a screen out of skirmishers here from our other brigades on the front. And then once Cooper's skirmishers return with their losses, we'll go ahead and detach them as well. This is a really cheap exploit because of the way the ammunition works. Oh, that's funny. All right, so we've set up a screen of skirmishers in front of our troops. Our artillery continues to fire. Ashby's brigade hasn't lost anything yet. What happens if we collapse on... Oh, no, the enemy's putting skirmishers forward. Never mind. Preston detached some skirmishers too. What if we send our other skirmisher units forward also? Ooh, these guys have 3 experience stars? Thomas's boys? George H. Thomas? Oh, the enemy's like, I don't want anything of this. They're pulling back. So we've got 4 brigades worth of skirmishers that are advancing on Ashby's troops. He's trying to close the distance with the skirmishers. Maybe gonna melee them or something? Why are they turning like that? So driving the skirmishers off. I don't know how many casualties I'm going to take in this process. If we get into a melee, probably a lot. I can't cover the flank there, so that was foolish. We lost 18 men so far in Wincup's brigade. The enemy lost about 46 in driving us off, but now we're in range of our Sharps boys. Not sure why they're not firing at them. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, they just routed those skirmishers. I don't know if I can bring routed skirmishers back into the unit. It doesn't look like we can. But they've kind of fallen for our trap because now Ashby's getting hit in the flank by these rapid-firing Sharps. So now he's trying to fall back. So our skirmishers did rejoin the unit, although that did have an impact on their morale. Now Ashby's trying to withdraw, although with heavy losses. So we do get a morale penalty because of those skirmishers that routed, but they did rejoin the brigade at least. Meanwhile, the cavalry's coming up. And dismounting. Okay, I'm happy to duke it out with dismounted cavalry. I've never fought a battle like this. I've never tried to really go all in on the skirmisher count. But I feel like with Sharp's rifles, you might as well. Almost 200 casualties in Ashby's brigade. We did have those 45 men in Wincop, 12 in Williams. But I mean, the casualties are definitely skewed in our favor. Thomas's skirmishers duking it out here with the enemy cavalry. And our artillery continues to pound the enemy before they can even get within reach of our main lines. Move those skirmishers around the flank and go after the cavalry next. We might be able to rout the cavalry just with our skirmishers. Why aren't they moving? No losses so far in Cooper's skirmisher detachment on this second or third foray. Skirmishers up. Fire into the cavalry here. Already almost 100 losses here for the Peninsula boys. Now we're going to get the rapid firing in on it. Granted, Thomas's skirmishers have kind of had enough, so we'll go ahead and recall them. And they routed. Fuck. Well, I'm going to hurt my morale just by doing this. Another 65 casualties here. Now Cooper's boys, who are low on ammo, duking it out with cavalry. Let's recall them before they have a chance to rout. Okay, well, a bloody little skirmish here in the morning of December 26th. We're now into the afternoon, and presumably the enemy assault may begin to materialize. My artillery's been blasting away at the enemy for a bit. I wonder if the orange... What did the orange must have represented something else, because none of them are orange now. Okay. A silence fell over the battlefield there for a few moments. I'm going to speed things back up till the enemy advances on me. Come at me, lads. Come assault this fortress that I've built. These parapets. Alright, these three brigades, Ashby, Hotchkiss, and Waite, are all coming up, also with Pike's battery of artillery. Looks like there might be one more brigade back there. They definitely have more brigades than we do, but in terms of manpower, I think we're supposed to have a slight advantage, so. Deploy in the open and take artillery fire, but be my guest. So Hill's brigades lost 2 men in their skirmisher detachment. Ashby lost 228. Hodgkins lost 164. Peninsula boys lost about 100. I don't see Lee's brigade right now. I don't know where they went. No sign. Alright, so we are now engaged. It looks like Wincop's brigade here is engaged with a brigade of enemy troops. Wincop is in the trenches. He's engaging Waite's brigade. He's trying to move skirmishers up. I'm going to take Sykes' brigade out of the entrenchments and move them forward along this river line to support the flank of Wincop, who has taken a fair number of casualties here. This is bad terrain, I think. The enemy has a height advantage, I think. Meanwhile, you can see a lot of artillery. All 60 guns of ours are now in action. Plastering these enemy troops to their front. We'll use Sykes to hit the enemy skirmishers here. Wincop will hold. Meanwhile, enemy skirmishers pushing forward on the 1st Maryland, the boys with sharps. And the cavalry are pushing in on George H. Thomas's boys on the other flank. So the enemy advance is in full swing. The line of battle is engaged. We're going to swing Negley over here. Looks like the enemy's going to try and flank me, at least with Hill's brigade. So I was going to move these guys out into the open, but maybe we shouldn't yet. Where are they flanked from? Oh. Okay. So I don't know where that looks like. Somehow the cavalry is hidden from our line of sight. We're going to advance Negley out of the trenches. Thomas somehow turned his unit so they're not in the trenches anymore, so they're engaged in the open. Meanwhile, casualties definitely racking up here for all the units involved. Manassas brigade have lost almost 500 men to less than 100 on our skirmishers, or our sharps boys. Everybody's just blazing away now. It does say they have earth parapet cover, but it doesn't have like the entrenchment benefit at the moment, which I'm not sure I understand. 2 brigades firing into hill. He's at 208 losses. Thomas has lost a fair number of troops. Now, some of those were skirmishers, but I don't think many. He also does have Preston firing into his flank. So the AI is using those skirmishers pretty effectively, I think, to flank our dug-in troops. So that might be a tactic we want to consider in the future for when we're attacking dug-in enemy troops. Is, you know, fire into their flank with skirmishers. Meanwhile, the 1st Enemy Brigade Hotchkisses have been routed and driven back, 648 casualties. Hill's brigade is rapidly advancing. I don't think this battle is going to last much longer. Lee's brigade hasn't really been engaged at all. Sykes in here to fire into the flank of Wadey's now that those skirmishers have been driven off. I assume Hill will break soon. He's up to 500 casualties and he's under fire by more than 4,000 muskets. Although Thomas has lost almost 400 men. We're going to advance Williams here on Wade's brigade also. I guess Lee could be coming across the open, but no sign of him anyway. So that whole line is in action here. Our artillery, you can see the smoke on the hill from all of our guns that are blazing away. And now it looks like Williams's brigade has come up and Wade's pulling back here. He's lost over 600 men. Not routed yet though. They're withdrawing in good order. Hill, on the other hand, has been routed, over 700 casualties. Gonna advance Thomas on this enemy skirmisher detachment. I think the general order at this point is to move everybody forward and start pushing the enemy from the field. Looks like we routed Waite's brigade now, so the enemy morale hasn't cracked yet. There goes Pike's battalion. All of their guns are gone and they lost over 50 men. Alright, the enemy army is retreating. So we'll go ahead and just speed through this because I don't think there's going to be much of a pursuit. I don't have cavalry to pursue with. Ashby's brigade is withdrawing in good order. So Ashby and Lee both didn't really engage all that much. But that's a victory. So we lost almost 1,000 men. We did lose a fair number of casualties. The enemy lost 2,400 infantry, so 2-1, but not the most devastating battle that we've seen. Total 2,700 to 944, so closer to 3-1. The enemy lost about 200 cavalry, half their guns, and we lost no guns and, you know, relatively small percentage of our army. So there's a victory at the Battle of Front Royal. It's a minor federal victory. We've definitely won more decisive ones, but a comfortable hold, if you will. It's kind of like when you're playing tennis and you're serving, and the enemy, and not the enemy, your opponent is returning serve, and you just sort of comfortably hold, right? Like they may get a few points in here and there, but it's not going to change the outcome of the game. You didn't break serve. There was nothing devastating about it, but there was no real threat that the enemy raised against you either. So it's a you know, nice little tennis analogy. The Battle of Front Royal Bridge ended with the Hampton Division retreating in panic. My command has earned a total victory with the enemy running for their lives. The enemy has reportedly suffered a total of 2,667 men. 376 of those are killed. We did capture 1,600 rifles, so presumably maybe another 1,000 or so of the enemy might be missing, although we didn't capture anyone. They certainly could have had deserters. The morale is believed to be confident. We lost 944 men, 126 killed, 155 missing, the rest wounded, and our supply situation's mediocre there. So a pretty comfortable victory there. Ammunition, we did use a fair amount of our artillery. It looks like we're down to about 50% of our artillery ammo, 76% of our rifle ammo. Although we do have some depots not too far away, which look like they have adequate ammunition for rifles and whatnot up near Winchester. So a victory for the Army under Patterson. And that's a nice little day after Christmas victory. So a nice little Christmas present for President Lincoln. Meanwhile, Hampton's division may lose some units in the rear guard action. You can see some of the units are slipping away and pulling back, but a victory for us. I'm kind of interested to see how like victories influence European intervention or not. Policies definitely do, but I haven't seen a huge impact on the percentages of European intervention, despite the fact that the Confederates have now lost 29 battles, only won 7, and this war doesn't look like it's going in their favor very much. Let's get to New Year's and then we'll wrap this video up. So go ahead and speed through here. I don't think we're gonna have another battle before New Year's. Doesn't look like the armies in West Virginia are moving. Nothing in Kentucky as far as I can see, or Missouri. So and there you have it. It is January 1st, 1862. How's Fort Macon doing, by the way? They're up to 30%. So Fort Macon has gotten up to 30%. Where is this fort being constructed? And is it going to be ours, or is it going to be the Confederates building a new fort in 120 days? Oh, they're just repairing. I think that's just representing the repair. So it'll be repaired in 4 months. But we're up to 30% on Fort Macon. With their brigade of troops that are defending there. Do we, by the way, I want to double check actually the Fort Macon garrison. Okay, they've got Springfield rifle muskets, so they're not just using trash. Baltimore's blockaded? Like, because of the stupid enemy fleet in the Chesapeake, they're successfully blockading the entire frickin' Chesapeake, which I can only imagine would have pretty dramatic economic ramifications, although less than 5%, so maybe effective is the wrong word. Morehead Port blockaded? Isn't Morehead ours? So who's blockading it? Because our squadron's there. Anyway. Yeah. They're blockading all this shit out here. With what, sir? The naval mechanics in this game are... they're interesting. I like that they try to make it a thing. But they're also... they could use some work. Okay. So... a victory in the Valley. The Army of the Potomac is getting ready to move. We're going to have 35,000 troops ready in the spring. Hopefully more of these wounded soldiers will also be back in the ranks once the winter is up. We are into 1862, and the war's going pretty well for us. So I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Until next time, as always, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. And actually, sorry, just as a reminder, this game is now out. So it is no longer in early access. It is the 1.0 version, and it's Grand Tactician, the Americans, or Grand Tactician, the Civil War. And it's available on Steam. So if you're interested, go check it out. Otherwise, maybe watch more of these videos. It is not the most polished of games, but if you are a Civil War buff, I think it's interesting. Anyway, guys, that'll do it. Until next time, I'll say it again. This is the Historical Gamer saying thank you very much for watching, and I'm out.